The old New York Yankee and Baseball Hall of Famer Yogi Berra once said, "It's like deja vu all over again." And if you think about our history as a church family, it really is true. This week and for the next couple of weeks, Bishop Don and Evangel Cathedral are participating in a revival with hopes of reaching Washington, D.C. for Jesus Christ. But did you know that at this same time, 59 years ago, just a few miles away from DAR Constitution Hall, then Pastor John Mears packed up his young family and moved to D.C. to join in a revival that had the same hope of touching Washington, D.C. for the Lord.
I was pastoring in Memphis, Tennessee with a growing church, very happy, a wonderful congregation, and the Lord began to continue to put in my heart that I was to come to Washington, D.C. I knew it was the capital of our nation, but I didn't really know anything about the demographics or the situation here in Washington, D.C., other than it was the capital of the nation.
Elder Mary Lee Mears, the bishop's loving wife, recalls the early days of their ministry.
John began having this feeling that there was a people somewhere that was really hungry for God, and he would spend hours in prayer. And one morning about 3 o'clock, the Lord spoke to him to go to Washington. And something strange had happened. Jack Coe, who was a well-known evangelist, called him and said, "John, I'm going to Washington, D.C. to have a tent meeting. I understand you feel called there. Why not come up and be with me, and you'll get acquainted with the people and get the exposure."
So he pitched this big tent on what is now known as the RFK Stadium, baseball, football stadium here in Washington, D.C., on what is now the parking lot, and immediately the crowds begin to come. To my amazement, after the meeting began and the crowds began to come, that was pretty much white, soon black folk began to come until that the crowd had turned almost 100% black.
The miracles just drew them in, and police had to ride mounted horsemen back in that day to keep the aisles open, and the people from, for the fire lanes, they called it. And we just had all kind of miracles. The blind would see, the crutches would be thrown away. Every kind of miracle you could think of. That was the day of real healing. And so overnight, when we decided, or the tent meeting was over, Jack Coe said, "Now here is Reverend Mears. He's going to stay and start a church," and introduced him to the crowd as their pastor. Well, of course, a lot of those people were not church people and did not have a church home. So overnight, we had a church.
Our very first 5 members were the young Mears family, and the original members who joined at the tent in our early years were known as charter members. Though many of them have gone on to be with the Lord, many are still around today. Did you know that in our 59 years as a church family, we have only had 2 senior pastors? Bishop John Mears from 1955 to 1989, and Bishop Don Mears from 1989 to the present, and he's still going strong. Whether you joined on Benning Road, at Turner's Arena, the U Street Warehouse, the Old York Theater, on Rhode Island Avenue, Evangel Church, Evangel Cathedral, the Bishop's Chapel, or the Encounter, we are one big happy family, and we have a lot to celebrate in the Lord. We thank God for each of you and the gifts the Lord has placed inside of you to help Evangel fulfill the purpose and destiny God has called us to as a people. Our history is very great, but our future can be even greater as we all join hands and grow together in the Lord. Happy 59th anniversary, Evangel. We've only just begun.